Welcome back to Investing with Confidence, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. And we are an academy that trains people how to trade and invest. Whether you're looking for income strategies during working years or during retirement, or wealth strategies, we call that retirement strategies, 401ks, IRAs, different ways to protect them from down markets, but also opportunities for profits in down markets. That's a strategy called shorting that you have the ability to do in different accounts. So if you happen to miss tickets to an investing class where we talk about all these strategies, these are investing classes at our local academies. You can text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210. Also, don't forget to check out the podcast if you missed part of the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So, Al, I was kind of talking with some friends, it was about last week or so, and we were talking about just the markets in general. And obviously they're going down pretty hard this year. I think if you look anywhere between 15 and 30%, depending on what market you look at. Right. Most stocks, there's a lot of stocks down 50, 60, 70%.
Exactly.
And what happens is when people have managed money, people like to be in a herd. People like to be with other people or like other people. And what happens is I want to make sure our listeners understand is don't be tricked by your money manager. Because what happened in 2008 is people lost millions and millions of dollars in retirement.
Trillions of dollars were lost
trillions of dollars
during that time period.
And it just didn't disappear. It went into different accounts, basically to the money to the people that knew how to profit in down markets. And what happens at that time is money managers will say, well, hey, don't worry about it. Everybody lost back then, or everybody is losing right now, so don't worry. Hey, your money manager may say, hey, I've even taken a hit, because they are conditioning you to feel like it's okay. Everybody else is doing it, right? That's just like when you have kids. You try to tell your kids, like, don't go do that. Don't go do this because it's not the right thing. Well, they're doing it. Everybody else is doing it. Well, you can be and do things differently. So I don't want that to happen to our listeners right now, because we are seeing down markets. Is it ended? I don't think so, but I don't have a crystal ball either. So don't let that happen to you. Don't feel like just because other people lose, that means you have to lose. Al, I want you to explain and talk about some of these 401k and IRA strategies that us, the public, has access to, so we can either have the potential to profit in down markets or at least protect what we have.
Well, there are a lot of things that can be utilized within a 401k. There's a lot of limitations, and that's the unfortunate thing. The great thing about a 401k is that it forces people to save some money, and also if you have a match, you're getting some free money. So those are two positive things. But other than that, there's some real disadvantages. You pretty much are limited as to the choices you have. There really is no way or very few ways of protecting your assets from a downside move. So one of the things that we talk about in our classes is what we call dynamic 401k management, how you can better control what you have within those accounts, how you can maybe have a hedged account that is in a way a protection or maybe an insurance policy against a downside move. But within a 401k, there's some limitations. You need to know what those are, but you also need to know what you have in your 401k. And most people, when they first set it up, they will put together something. A lot of them are using target-dated funds now, and then they don't do anything. They don't manage it. They don't make any changes. They don't know how to make the changes. Those are all things that we can help you with. But what a lot of our students do, even after that match has been met, because there's a limit as to how much your employer will match. Once that match has been met, and there's no longer that free money coming in, you're still encouraged to continue to put money into something that maybe will give you 3 to 5% on the upside on an average annual basis, but exposes you to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% downward moves. You're paying management fees on a regular basis there. When you retire, you're going to pay taxes on those. So these are all things you need to be aware of. But a lot of our students, once that match has been met, will set up a self-directed IRA. If you do that, you now have many more choices. Typically within a 401k, 403b, it's mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, maybe some stocks. In a a self-directed IRA, you can trade all of those things, invest in all of those things, but you also have access to the options market, the futures market, the foreign exchange market. You can benefit whether the market's going up or down or sideways. How great would it be if you didn't care if we were going through a bull market or a bear market because you knew how to take advantage of both of those? But also you can have protection. You can have essentially the same thing as an insurance policy on your portfolio. So even if the assets you have, if you never sell a stock, for example, in a stock portfolio, if it goes down, you can have that insurance policy. It's an option strategy that goes up to kind of counter that. You maybe even have a profit on that, based on the way you have it structured. But there are things that you can do. Actually, when you think about it, you're already managing your 401k. You're the one making the decisions there. So why not do that in a self-directed IRA where you're not paying the fees? So right away, you've eliminated somewhere between maybe 2 to 4% of what could be taken out of your 401ks. You're managing your assets anyway, so why not do that in a way where you're not paying somebody, but you also have access to things that will benefit you regardless of which direction the market is going, and you can have true protection on your assets within that self-directed IRA.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that you hit there is people are looking for more choices, and they want more choices in their 401ks, IRAs, so they just don't have to let it go down. But I think the key also is being able to protect what you have. If you want to be able to protect what you have that opportunity to have more longevity of those retirement accounts, you might have to do things a little bit differently. And if you're that person that likes to do things differently and doesn't want to be part of that herd and just let it happen to you, come to one of these investing classes, and we'll introduce you to these different strategies and these different techniques for those retirement accounts. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 tickets for an investing class right here at Online Trading Academy. So you're talking about this self-directed account, Al, right?
Correct.
How does one open one? What do you got to do to do that? Most of our listeners probably have never heard of that.
Well, there are a number of brokerage firms out there that will allow you to have a self-directed IRA with them. Basically, it's either filling out a form online or making a phone call to them. If you have questions or concerns, we can answer those questions, help you with that concern. It's an easy process to do, and actually, if you're taking money from one account, say your 401k, if you're retired or if you leave a job for any reason, by the way, you have access to that 401k. You can roll it into a self-directed IRA. You do not have to leave it in a 401k. The firm that you set the IRA up with they'll do the transfer for you. So it's an easy process. Don't let concerns about these things bother you. If you have a concern, if you have an issue that's keeping you from doing something, talk to us about that, because most of the time it's such an easy fix. And a lot of people are concerned because they're concerned that they're going to make the wrong decision. What if I'm not right? What if I have a loss? Well, you know what? You are going to have a loss. Your 401k has losses. If you're in a 401k or 403b now, if you're in that typical buy and hold strategy, the first half of this year, you're down probably 20, 30, 40%. We've had people come in that have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the first 6 months of the year, and they're angry because they counted on a financial advisor. And you had mentioned this earlier. One of the students that I talked to said, my broker said, well, I lost money too, and that was supposed to make him feel better. He didn't feel better. But here's the thing. If you learn how to do this properly, and it's one of the things we teach our students, how to set up a trade where you're protected, where you can set the trade up, the investment up, and then you can kind of walk away and not have to worry, because if you're wrong, you're protected. We show you how to do that. And if you're right and you have a profit, you're protected there also. Let the software do the work. If you sit in front of a computer, and we hear people say this all the time, I was watching the market and I just made the wrong decision because I got emotionally involved. You need to take the emotions out of it. And our strategy is a step-by-step, rules-based strategy that does exactly that.
You're right. I mean, that's one of the things that I really like about Online Trading Academy is trying to simplify the strategy for each individual that comes in to learn how to do that. And it just takes a little bit of effort. And, don't be that person that just does nothing about things. Take a little bit of action. If your finances are important to you, if it's important to you to maybe leave a legacy for your family at one point, you can't just let everything sit and hope it happens, as you talked about. I think it was in the first or second segment. So we have these investing classes at our local academies right here. If you're listening, we have a class near you. So you can text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 tickets and a quick start kit to help you get started. Text investing to the number 210-210 for this investing class at our local academies. Al, we got one more segment to go, and I think a lot of our people need inspiration and inspiration to start. There is a lot of people out there that want to get started and just don't know how. They've never done it before, and they want to see what are the right techniques, what are the right strategies, but also where's the best place to start. Coming up next, we'll talk about that. Make sure to follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. This is Josh and Al. We will be right back.